First impressions are always important, no matter the concept. Sometimes, all it takes to get you hooked on an entire game is an amazing introduction sequence that grabs your attention and pulls you in.
Oh God.
Of course, there's a lot of ways it can go wrong as well, with horrendous loading times, cutscenes that are too long, or boring tutorial sections that drag on and on, but today, I'd like to share some of my favorites, so let's be positive. These are 5 awesome video game intros. Number 5. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. Yeah, I know, it's a common one, but can you blame me? I mean, it is such an amazing opening sequence, but before we get to that, I gotta be honest.
Uh-oh. Should I be flattered or worried?
Back in 2009, when Uncharted 2 was released, then at first, I didn't really care about it. Because before that, I had seen different gameplay videos about the first game, Drake's Fortune, and it looked so generic. It didn't get my interest at all, and based on that impression, I completely passed on the second game, which was a really stupid thing to do.
Oh. Okay, I see where this is going.
So after the release of Uncharted 2, about a year later, I stumbled upon an article that was talking about its success, and it got me really curious. It was Game of the Year in 2009. It won so many awards that you can't even count them on your fingers, with pretty much perfect review scores. And I was like, wait a minute, the company that used to make games where you run around as a fox jumping on boxes and collecting apples, now suddenly has one of the best third-person shooter games on the market? What?
Where did you find this guy?
So immediately I checked out one video on YouTube on how the game starts, and a couple of days later I bought a PlayStation 3 with a copy of Uncharted 2, and I have never looked back.
Yeah, well, payback's a bitch.
So why did I tell you all of this? Well, because this intro was so amazing that I pretty much bought a console because of that first impression. And with that said, let's talk about the intro itself.
I hope I live to regret this.
Usually, I don't like when games start off in the middle section and then you have to play the first missions in flashbacks, but with Uncharted 2, I don't mind at all. In fact, I absolutely love it. I believe that if they had done it in any other way, then it would never have worked out so well.
Is that so?
It starts off with Nathan Drake waking up in a train cart, being confused and badly injured. The intro is so clever that already in a few seconds it makes a brilliant twist. In 3, 2, 1. Now think about this for a moment. Nathan is hanging from a train cart that's hanging over a mountain, and he's gotta climb in sub-zero temperatures without any warm clothing, with a bullet stuck in his guts, all while the train cart is slowly breaking down. God damn. If there's anything missing from this intro, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this, it's a time limit. Yeah, a stupid time limit, because at the moment I can leave Nathan hanging in a certain spot for hours, but the train cart will start falling down only once you climb to a specific point. And that doesn't really build any tension if I can just take my time so easily. Of course there's gonna be people who disagree on this, but that's my only minor complaint. In the end, it doesn't really matter that much. The intro, just like the entire game, is still an unforgettable experience.
What does that mean?
Number 4. Mass Effect 2. Let me ask you something. How many games have you played that pretty much begin with the death of the main character? I can only name a few from the top of my mind, and Mass Effect 2 happens to be one of those games, and it also happens to have one of the best intros I have ever seen.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
The game begins approximately 1 month after the attack on the Citadel that was orchestrated by Saren, the Geth, and the Reaper Sovereign. Despite Shepard's warnings about the race of sentient machines that commit galactic genocide once every 50,000 years, the Council has decided to quiet down all rumors concerning the Reaper threat to calm down the public.
The original council was made up of a bunch of blind, stubborn morons.
So the SSV Normandy has been sent on a mission to exterminate the remaining Geth resistance. However, the mission doesn't go as planned. With only a few minutes into the game, the Normandy gets fatally attacked by an unknown vessel. Now, I might sound like a pussy saying this, but when I was witnessing this for the first time, watching crew members die and the Normandy up in flames, it was kind of heartbreaking. The Normandy had such a crucial role in the first game, becoming one of the most iconic spaceships in video game history, and now it was being torn apart, and there's no way to save it.
You talk too much.
So with the impending destruction of the Normandy, the surviving crew members are being evacuated except for the pilot who's refusing to abandon ship. And so it's all up to Shepard to get him out of there and put him on a safe path away from the chaos. As we're moving towards the cockpit, we come to my most favorite part in the intro, which is this brief section where you have to walk through the command deck.
Hold together. Hold together.
In a way, it's beautiful. Looking back, I plotted so many different courses from this place in the last game, and now, I'm looking into the emptiness of space through the ceiling while debris from the ship floats over my head. Considering everything that's happening, for a moment it's so peaceful and quiet. All you can hear is Shepard breathe. So Shepard saves the pilot, leaving himself behind like a true hero, but gets caught up in an explosion that causes severe damage to his suit, which leaves him without any oxygen. And then it happens. There's nothing you can do but watch as Shepard slowly dies of asphyxiation in the vacuum of space, and listen as he draws his last breath while getting caught in the gravitational pull of the planet below and slowly drifts away.
I don't know what drugs you're on, but stay back and I won't shoot you.
Wow. Such a roller coaster of emotions. It's amazing and tragic at the same time, with a perfect and fitting music score to finish things up. But thankfully, it's not the end of Shepard. Number 3. Batman Arkham City. Initially, I was gonna go with Arkham Knight, first of all, because of the unique scene where Joker is being cremated while Frank Sinatra's I've Got You Under My Skin is playing in the background.
Don't you know, little fool, you never can win.
It also has the famous diner section where we got to see the effects of Scarecrow's fear toxin from someone else's perspective. And of course, I can't forget about this beautiful shot of Gotham City with the bat symbol shining up in the sky. But after giving it a lot of consideration, then personally, I'm gonna have to go with Arkham City.
You won't get away with this.
It's common for a Batman game to start off playing as the Batman, but what I like about the intro of Arkham City is its difference. The game starts about 1 year after the events of Arkham Asylum. The asylum for the criminally insane has been shut down and the section of Gotham City has been converted to a new super prison called Arkham City.
Never heard of it.
It begins with Bruce Wayne holding a press conference explaining how this is not exactly the safest idea for the people of Gotham, but the press conference gets stormed by Hugo Strange's Tiger Guards and Bruce Wayne gets captured.
Target secured.
After submitting him to torture, Hugo Strange finds out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Now, I really like this plot point. Even though it never reaches its full potential during the rest of the game, it definitely helps to build tension during the intro, with Hugo Strange proving that no one is truly untouchable, not even Bruce Wayne.
Well, as you can see, no one is untouchable.
It's also interesting to notice how many different characters you get to see in this section, like Vicky Vale, Hugo Strange, Jack Ryder, the Penguin, Deadshot.
Bang!
Azrael watching from the rooftop, and even the Black Mask makes a cameo.
Get me straight!
For me, the best part is entering the prison. Just watch how calmly Bruce walks while being surrounded by dozens of violent inmates. He doesn't have any gadgets, no tools for help. He's been beaten down, tortured, yet still, he doesn't let anyone intimidate him. Hell, he even takes a few of them out while being stuck in chains. Now that is badass. But eventually someone gets a cheap shot. The gates open and standing behind them is none other than the Penguin himself, who knocks Bruce out cold and takes him away. And just when he's about to inflict the world of pain on him,
Get him!
Bruce breaks free and breaks the thugs. You can even knock the fuck out of Penguin if you want, which is awesome. And from there, it's a simple climb to the rooftop of the Ace Chemicals building and donning the iconic Batsuit. Number 2. BioShock Infinite. I'm fully aware that the intro for the original BioShock is one of the best ever made. I really wanted to include one BioShock game in this video, and if I have to choose between the first BioShock and BioShock Infinite, then personally my money is on Infinite.
Would you kindly kill the son of a bitch?
Don't get me wrong, both intros are legendary, but which of them is truly better? I think it depends on the person. I could explain my reasons on why, for me, Infinite's intro is the better one, but I do have a lot to say on that matter, and it would simply take way too long. So for the sake of the video, I'm going to skip that explanation.
Don't you know that makes you the backstabbing snake in the grass, false shepherd?
BioShock Infinite begins in a similar fashion like the first game. You're surrounded by water, there's a lighthouse, and the lighthouse serves as an access point to the city, this time to the city of Columbia. At first we see our main character Booker DeWitt getting delivered to the lighthouse by two very interesting personalities. Listening to the two of them talk, you can definitely tell that something weird is going on.
Ah, I see what you mean.
When I was playing this the first time, it was actually confusing. But what I really like about this BioShock is the fact that the main character talks, and he is also confused, and because of that, I can immediately relate with the character and form a connection, which, unfortunately for me, was nearly impossible to do in the first game.
Told you.
So you make it to the top of the lighthouse and ring 3 bells in a correct sequence. Next up, there's a loud noise and the sky glows red, like it's the apocalypse or something, giving you the idea that whatever's doing this has to be extremely massive. After ringing the bells, the lighthouse opens up and a fancy chair emerges from the floor, which turns out to be a rocket silo called the Pilgrim Rocket.
Ascension in the count of 5. Count of 4.
With the altitude increasing and Booker's panic rising, everything seems to be going wrong. But then, this happens.
10,000 feet. Hallelujah.
Everything calms down. The view is breathtaking and the music selection is top-notch, creating an ideal atmosphere for the reveal of the city. It's one of Ada Ruth Habberson's gospel songs from 1907 called Will the Circle Be Unbroken, which was composed by Charles Gabriel, and that song name also has a meaning in the game's storyline, which is really cool.
What the hell was that?
Finally, you get to make your first steps in the city of Columbia, and what can I say, it's absolutely jaw-dropping. The visuals, detail, floating buildings, everything looks amazing. What I also like is that we get to see the city functioning normally before everything goes into madness. Civilians living their normal everyday lives, children playing on the street, and there's also a parade of some sorts. So in the end, if you're looking for a game with a mind-bending storyline in one of the most unique locations ever created for a video game, then you definitely need to give this one a go. Number 1. God of War 3. If we're talking about well-done video game intros, then there's no way we can leave God of War out of this. No matter which God of War game you play, every one of them has an amazing and memorable opening sequence. But for me, the best God of War intro is definitely from God of War 3. Saying that it's just well done is an understatement, because in my opinion, it is the very definition of the word epic. In fact, it's so good that at times the rest of the game is actually struggling to keep up with it. I'm dead serious.
And you will not see the end of this day.
God of War 3 starts immediately from the moment where God of War 2 ended. The game opens up with this impressive moving shot while Zeus gives a gripping speech. Looking back, during the intro, it's interesting to see all the locations that you're gonna be going through later in the game, like Hades, the city of Olympia, and the heart of Gaia. And by the way, fuck this harpy in general. As the camera moves up, we finally get to see the Titans scaling the mountain, and this shot combined with the music and Zeus' speech is absolutely stunning.
We will unite. We will stand together. And I will wipe out this plague. Olympus will prevail.
So right from the start, it's all-out war. Kratos and the Titans versus the gods of Olympus. We see the gods getting ready for battle as they leave the top of the mountain one by one, but the best entrance is definitely done by the god of the seas. Just watch. Holy shit. One of the first amazing details you will notice during gameplay is all that's going on around you. How Gaia climbs the mountain while you're fighting, or how some other Titans are getting pulled down from the mountain in the background. Sometimes Gaia even changes her position during combat, which will make you fight from a different perspective, and it truly gives you the feeling that you're moving around on a living thing. Now remember how in the first God of War you had to go through the entire game to finally fight and kill a god? Well, in God of War 3, you're fighting a god during the intro, and it's magnificent. Just look at the reveal of Poseidon in his ultimate form surrounded by the seahorses, and let's check out some parts of the fight.
You challenge me, mortal? A god of Olympus?
Now what follows is one of the most brutal beatdowns I've ever seen, especially because of the sound design. You know, I've played God of War 3 around 5 or 6 times, and the sound when Kratos sticks his thumbs in Poseidon's eye sockets accompanied with the scream still makes me go like, ugh. So anyway, Kratos and Gaia make it to the top of the mountain where Zeus is waiting. And by the way, here's a fun fact. The man who voices Zeus is the same man who voices Hugo Strange in Batman Arkham City, Corey Burton. Now, as they're about to attack, Zeus gets the upper hand, nearly severing Gaia's arm with a lightning bolt, which basically sends Kratos flying all the way down to Hades. And that was just the intro. My god, what an opening. After all this time, it's still impressive. So those were some of my most favorite video game intros of all time. If there's anything you could recommend for me to check out, then please let me know in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.